and welcome back to the channel. So today we are making a fall favorite, a Thanksgiving favorite, heck, any time of the year favorite. Like, I make this sometimes in the summertime, but we are making my favoriteest pumpkin pie. It is a really delicious pumpkin pie, and believe it or not, pumpkin pie is really easy to make, and it's much cheaper to make it than to go to the store and buy it. And here's what I love about it. You can actually, so the recipe I'm going to show you makes one pumpkin pie, but you can make several of these. And once you make them, you can like make them and freeze them and then just get them out before Thanksgiving. Pop them in the oven, warm them up, and it's really easy that way. It kind of cuts down on some of your preparation and all of that. But anyway, if you want to learn how to make my favorite pumpkin pie, keep on watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell. That way you don't miss any of our healthy recipes or our not so healthy recipes. So let's go ahead and dive in. First and foremost, we're gonna start with the crust. Now you can do the crust a couple different ways. You can either make a homemade crust, or you can go to the store and you can buy the crust in the refrigerator section. Now today, for time reasons, we have a full day of homeschool. It's a weekday around the house here. We just felt like having some pumpkin pie, and my pastry cutter's broken and I have another one on the way. And making pie without a pastry cutter is much harder. My favorite one comes from Pampered Chef. So all that to say, I am using the pre-made pie crust. Two of them come in the container. And so you're going to roll this out, and I am using a 9-inch, I think it's a 9.5-inch pie tin. If all you have is an 8-inch, that's okay. You're just gonna have some extra pie filling, which you can do all different kinds of things with. But I'm using a 9-inch. We're gonna roll this out, put it in our pie tin, and yeah. Okay, now that our pie is in the oven, as you saw, we rolled it out. I always like to crunkle up my parchment paper before I put it into the dough, into the pie crust, because then it makes it easier to get it to lay against the pie. If you do not have pie weights, then you can just use rice, and you're going to cook that at 375 degrees. It's in the oven right now for 10 minutes. We're gonna pre-bake the crust. This is gonna help our crust be a little firmer, not so chewy on the bottom. And yeah, so once we get that, while that's baking, we are gonna go ahead and start working on our pie filling, And it's a handful of ingredients. Most of them you probably have around your house, but let's go ahead and get our bowl out, a whisk, a spatula, and start making the pie filling. This pie filling is so good. I can like literally spoon it out and eat it. I know it's got raw eggs in it, but that's how good the pie filling is. Okay, to start we have a 1 15-ounce can of 100% pure pumpkin. You want the pure pumpkin, you don't want the pumpkin pie mixture. And you're just gonna put one of these in here. And if you wanna make 2 pies, you can double this mixture. These pies do freeze, so you can make one now and then freeze it and save it for Thanksgiving Day. So make sure you get all your pumpkin out of there. You're going to do 3 large eggs. And I like to give them just a little whisk, break the yolk up, combine it a little bit before I add it. Dump that in. 1 1/4 cups of either light or dark brown sugar. You want it to be packed when you put it in, and that's 1 1/4 cups. Next, we have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/8 teaspoon of cloves going in. We have 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. We have 1 1/2 teaspoons of cinnamon. We have a 1/4 cup of milk. You can use any milk. This is 2%, but whether you have 1%, and that's a 1/4 cup. we have 1 cup of heavy cream. And then last but not least, this is the weirdest ingredient, and this is gonna be 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground black pepper. I know, so weird, right? And here's what I will say about the pepper, because obviously when you're doing the pie and you put the pepper in, it's only 1/8 of a teaspoon, but it's gonna give you more of a pumpkin spice. You can't taste the pepper, but it's more of a pumpkin spice. So if you want more of just a pumpkin pie, and when I say spice, I don't mean like, oh, spicy, but a pumpkin spice. But if you don't want that, you can omit the pepper, the 1/8 of a teaspoon. It's completely optional. I just kind of like it in. You can't taste it, but it gives it something a little extra. If you want this spice, put it in. If you want the regular pumpkin pie, don't. And then we are going to combine. Whisk it together and combine it. You see my cinnamon I spilt? Cooking hazard. You are gonna whisk this together till it's well combined, it's smooth, no clumps. And then we are going to pour it into our pre-baked pie tin. I like to put my pie on a baking tin before I put it into the oven. So I'm gonna put this on a baking tin, and we are gonna transfer this to the oven, and that's already preheated at 375 degrees. There it is. Okay, our pie is in the oven baking, and we have it at baking at 375 degrees, and I set the timer for 50 minutes, 50. At 50 minutes, I'm going to check it. It's still gonna be, I'll show you, it's still gonna be a little jiggly but firm. And then if it's still not done, 55 minutes, still not done, 60 minutes. But it normally 50 to 60 minutes, depending on your oven, the time of year, your altitude, all of that. But while that's baking, we are gonna use our second pie crust, and we are gonna roll out some little, I don't know, pie pastry cookies, if you will, and those are we're gonna use those to decorate the pie when we're all done. It just really, this is a totally unnecessary step. You don't have to do it, but it just elevates your pie just a little bit. It makes it look a little festive. My kids like it. You can dip it into the whipped cream, whatever you like. And so we're gonna roll out our dough, get out our cookie cutters. It would be really cute during fall if you had some little leaves. I don't, so I'm gonna use like a star, a heart, and then I kind of have a mistletoe one that looks like leaves I'm gonna use. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, we have our pie cookies, our pie decorations rolled out. Here we have the leaf, I have the star, and I have the heart. Now I have mixed up 1 large egg and 1 tablespoon of milk. And I'm just going to lightly brush these with that. It's gonna give them a really pretty like golden brown color. And just lightly brush that on, make them kind of shiny. Once we get those done, I'm going to sprinkle some, this is my favorite sugar to use like when I'm baking, and this is turbinado sugar. And I'm just gonna take some and sprinkle this right onto the, and these are gonna go in the oven for about 10 minutes or until they're golden brown. Okay, we just took our pie decorations, our pie crust cookies. You can see the ones with sugar, the ones without, and we are going to use these. So I just have them on a cooling rack to cool right now, and we will be using these later to decorate the pie. Okay, we just pulled our pie out. It went for 55 minutes, and you can see here, if you come down, the middle is a little jiggly, but it'll firm up as it cools. We are going to let this cool here on the counter or in the fridge for a minimum of 2 hours. It can be overnight. Yeah, and then we're going to decorate it and enjoy it. Okay, and here it is all plated. And here's the cool thing, like you can, with that whipping cream, you can whip up some whipped cream, a little bit of the heavy whipping cream, vanilla and sugar, plop some whipped cream on there, and then you use these little cookies to decorate. And you can do just a leaf. So it's like that. You can add the heart. Isn't that the cutest little thing ever? All right, so hopefully you enjoyed that recipe. Hopefully you make it, and hopefully you enjoy it half as much as I do. Over the years, I've probably experimented, combined, changed, tried so many different pumpkin pie recipes. And although there's a lot of good pumpkin pies, this one by far has been my favorite, my go-to. It is just delicious. So anyway, hopefully you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our other delicious recipes. I will link down below. It was about a month and a half ago back, I think, but so I'll link it down below so you don't have to search for it. We made, if you're any fan of pumpkin or just delicious recipes, we made a pumpkin cream cheese muffin. These are a favorite inside of our household. In fact, I would tell you they last up to a week in the refrigerator, but I don't think they've ever made it that long in our house. So if you're a pumpkin lover, you like pumpkin pie, check out the muffins, and let me know what you think. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.